Speediance recently came out with a new product called the Gym Pal, which is simply a standing platform that can provide up to 220 pounds of resistance. Now this product is similar to the Vitruvian V-Form trainer I have reviewed in the past, which that one could go up to 400 pounds. However, this one is much more compact and I think has some benefits you might like, especially the overall price. But as a quick disclaimer, I did receive the Speediance Gym Pal for free to make this review. Now all the opinions in this review are my own after running my own tests with this product, so if after all this you feel that you want to go ahead and make a purchase, you can use code GamerBody-GP at checkout to save $100 off your order, and a commission will go back to GamerBody to help making more videos like this in the future. But with that, let's jump into the Speediance Gym Pal, see what we get, and see if it stacks up against the Speediance Gym Monster I reviewed previously. Now jumping over to the Speediance Gym Pal sales page, there are currently two bundles available. You've got the Pro and the Pro Max bundles. Now with the Pro, this is the cheaper option coming in at $1,499, and you get the Gym Pal, a flat bench, handles, the ring, and an adjustable bar. But if we flip over to the Pro Max versions, the price does jump to $1,649, as you have a few different pieces of equipment, and our bench is now turned into an adjustable bench. We have a triceps rope, as well as ankle straps adding to that cost now. But I do have all the pieces of equipment mentioned in both of them, so I'm going to go through, show you what they look like, and rattle off if they're in the Pro or only Pro Max versions, or both. So first off, you have the Gym Pal, which of course is in both versions, and is what you need in order to do any of the exercises. Next up, we have the flat bench, and this is actually only in the Pro version. So I currently have a flat bench from the Gym Monster. The only difference with this one is it does have a thing that goes on top of the Gym Pal itself to kind of give a bit more stability with the bench overall. Next up, we have an adjustable barbell, and this thing is really cool and comes in both versions. Why I really like this is because you can actually change the anchor points of the cables on the bar with the holes that they have cut out for you to select. So some exercises are better if the anchor points are on the very ends, or some are better if they're actually closer to the middle. So this has been great to test out with. I'm still kind of fiddling around to see where I really like to do most of these, but this is an excellent addition to the overall Speediance Gym products, as it's also in the Gym Monster. Moving on, we have regular handles, and these are the same ones that are in the Gym Monster, but both products also come with these same normal handles. I wish these were a little better. I feel like they're a little cheap compared to the old ones that used to have these smart handles that I just feel had a better weight to them and just felt sturdier, but they work and get the job done. Moving on, we have one of the biggest improvements, and that is going to be the Bluetooth ring. Now, there used to be smart equipment that came with the Gym Monster, so they kind of got rid of that and instead just went to a ring you wear on your finger to turn on and off resistance, as well as while you're at rest, you can actually change the resistance up or down depending before your next set. And by the way, this has been one of the biggest game changers because you no longer need batteries to put in any of these smart equipment, and you only need one device for everything in order to keep yourself safe while using the ring and change that resistance. Moving on, we have an adjustable bench. I'm not going to get too much into this one. It does come with just the Max. Unfortunately, I got kind of a bad version of this, so I'm actually working with them to get a replacement, as they actually made upgrades after they sent me this one. So I'm looking to get a new one to kind of test out and see if that's better than the one I got, because the one I got actually didn't hold my weight very well. So it was kind of a bust one, but do know I'm getting another one to test out in the future. So next up is a triceps rope, and this only comes with the Max version. My big complaint here is that the rope itself is pretty slick, so if you're getting really sweaty hands or palms, it can be hard to hold on to the rope if you have a lot of resistance pulling against you. So that's my only real complaint. Also, the knobs on the end are also still pretty slippery, so if they can figure a way to make a future version not like this, that would be awesome. And the last item are ankle straps. You should get two. I only got one, but I think it's just the review one I had, and I already had one from my Gym Monster anyway, so technically I have two now. But do know you should get two ankle straps from what I understand, and I really just don't even use them, but they seem like they would work just fine if you'd like to use them in your workouts. So that's all the additional accessories you get, but do know right now, if you made the order today as I'm shooting this video, you would also get a lifetime membership to the app, which is also very important for using this device, as you can't really use it without it. but do know you would get that lifetime membership, which might be worth it for most people just for the price tag. And no, I don't know when that lifetime membership is coming off of the sales page. I have asked, but they will not tell me. Alright, now specifications for the Gym Pal. It comes in with a weight of 55 pounds and has dimensions of 32 inches by 23 inches by 6 inches. So it's a pretty square, like rectangle kind of platform, again with that 6-inch depth. Now there is a little bit longer depth on one side of it where you kind of have this lights going across and where you can also stand it up. So do know one side is a bit thicker in the end, but overall not too bad. And what I really like about this product is the unboxing is really easy. So the device itself is all set, ready to go. All you need to do is take the power cord, plug it in, and then plug it into a wall to get it working. The only thing I had to build was the adjustable bench, which took me a little bit of time, but overall wasn't too bad. It was nothing like the rowing machine I did in the past. So this adjustable bench was much easier to put together. But now I'm going to go over actually using the Gym Pal itself. So first off, to get this thing working, you will have to take the power cord, plug it into the Gym Pal, and plug it into a wall to get power to the device. It has no onboard battery whatsoever. From there, there's a little switch on the side of the Gym Pal that you switch on, and after a few seconds, you will see lights on the Gym Pal appear, indicating that it is turning on and getting ready to go. Next up, you need to connect the Speediance app to the Gym Pal. So there is a bunch of options. When you first get into it, it actually kind of walks you through how to connect it and all that stuff. But if you kind of get lost, there is a connect button on the homepage that you can search for the Gym Pal, and hopefully it finds the Bluetooth connection for you so you can quickly just set it up and get ready to go. I did it in a few seconds the first time, and ever since I've never had any issues connecting to it yet. So again, really awesome so far in terms of connection to the device. I've also never had it drop out on me on any exercise I was ever performing in my initial testing. And as a quick note, they also gave me a QR code with my device that I can just scan with my phone, and that also helps you just connect really quickly to the Speediance. You just have to make sure that it is on and ready to accept that connection. Next up, you're going to make sure you turn on the ring and get that connected to the device as well, as that will, again, allow you to activate and deactivate the resistance for your exercises. So maybe you are going to fail at an exercise. It's just a safety thing. You can click the button and the resistance will just turn off. Or you're ready to start a set. You don't have to go over to your phone to click it. You can just click the ring on your finger and it will actually add on the resistance for you to start that set. But at that point, the Gym Pal is actually ready to go. Now you can attach any handles you want or the bar or whatever and do whatever exercise you want to start out with in your workout. All right, now I'm going to go into the Speediance app a little bit so you can get a feel for what is in there as of right now. So first off, you will need to download the Speediance app itself. It is all free to download, so you can just head over to your iOS page or the Google Play Store and download it for free to your mobile device. From there, you'll need to set up your account and get everything again set up so you do all the Bluetooth connections and whatnot and sync your device so that it is ready to go. Now, a little side note, because I do own the Gym Monster as well, they did something interesting that I wasn't prepared for with the app. So actually, when I logged in and connected the Gym Pal, it actually created two distinct, different profiles. I now have a Gym Monster profile and a Gym Pal profile. So I actually switched between the two. And I think they did this because they are different enough products to have also different exercises for each one. So when I go to the Gym Monster, it has all exercises dedicated and showing how to use it on the Gym Monster product. And when I switch to the Gym Pal, all of the exercises switch over to all of them using the Gym Pal instead. So there's kind of a cool thing, I think, because it's separated out the two and it makes it easier for me to discover it versus having to sift through both of the products and figure out which one matches which product itself. Now, one thing to be aware of is that I currently have the pre-release version of the Gym Pal and the app. So this means that some things are missing, like programs are currently not listed in my version of the app, but I did reach out to Speediance and they let me know that there will be programs on the official launch day, as well as more than 100 workouts that you can follow. But looking at the free lift and I guess the workouts and exercises that are in here, there are 4 modes you can do for your exercises in the app, and those are the standard, eccentric, chains, and constant modes. So the first one is the standard, and that is the one I primarily do in all my workouts, and it just keeps constant tension on the cables the entire time. The second option is the eccentric mode, and this is where you have all the resistance when you are lengthening your muscles in the rep. So this means something like a bicep curl. When you're lowering the weight to the floor, you're lengthening your muscles. So all the resistance is placed there, and then it's all removed so you can bring your hands up back to the curled position. The third mode is chains, and I really don't use this one like ever, but from what I can tell, basically it adds more resistance as you go through the range of motion. So if I was doing a bicep curl and I was doing the curl up, as I raised the resistance or raised my hands towards my face, there'd be more resistance as it got closer to my head. And the last one is the constant mode, and this one is where it provides a consistent speed or resistance throughout the movement. Now, no, I've not really used this. I read it straight off the screen, but do know it just has that consistent speed or resistance throughout that entire rep. So next up, I'm going to quickly go over a safety feature that Speediance has added to the Gym Pal that's also seen in the Gym Monster, and that is called the spotter modes. So these spotter modes will reduce resistance when you get stuck at certain parts of the range of motion. Again, this was built in as a safety feature because if you have it off and you get stuck mid-set, you might actually get stuck and not be able to get out of where you are. So I highly recommend turning on the spotter modes before you start working out. So of course, the first one you have is no spotter. So this is the unsafe one where if you get stuck, you are basically stuck until you are able to figure a way out. Using the ring is probably the best way, as you can turn on and off that way. So don't forget about it if you do get stuck with a spotter mode off. Next up is spotter mode 1, and this will help you reduce the resistance on the cables if you get stuck anywhere in the midpoint of the range of motion. So the ends are not where it will reduce, it's only within that midpoint that it will reduce for you. So the last spotter is spotter 2, and this is the one I primarily use in my own workouts. So what this does is at any point in the range of motion where you cannot draw the cable any longer, after a second or so it will drop the resistance until you are able to draw that cable again. And again, as a safety feature, I highly recommend that you turn this one, or at minimum the spotter 1, on in order to stay safe while you are working out. And with that, we're going to jump into my pros and cons list of the Speediance Gym Pal. So first off, I think this is very well built. I'm currently 5'11", about 190 pounds, and this thing holds my weight like I'm not even on it. An interesting feature they added to the Gym Pal is that it has those white lights on the side of the Gym Pal itself, and when you're doing a rep, it actually shows kind of how far the cable has been pulled. So when you're just starting reps, say again like bicep curl, when you have it at the bottom, it's going to have the least amount of light showing on the device, but as you curl up, the length of the light gets longer, and then when you lower it back to the ground, it gets smaller again. So it's kind of cool to kind of just see how far you're pulling through that range of motion. Also, something I found very helpful with the benches is that there are lines on the platform itself. So this is kind of like a felt-ish almost platform you're standing on, but they lined it so that you can actually line up that middle portion of the bench that's like a little higher up than the rest of the bench onto the platform itself to make sure it is dead center and that you have the cables on each side at the same length away from you. Now, one kind of pro-ish, con-ish thing is that the device can get kind of loud when it's under heavy load. Now, my wife does sleep in the room right next to me, but she can't hear it at all, even when it's in that heavy load. So that is kind of a plus that she's so close and can't hear it. But do know I noticed it when working out that it can get kind of loud in order to cool the system down while you're using it. Moving on, the ring has been an excellent addition. And this was also in my Gym Monster review, but the ring has really been a huge improvement in my opinion. Again, it does take some time to get used to. It feels a little awkward at first. You might misclick it too, so be prepared to turn it off right away and don't get crushed under whatever resistance you've picked. But do know, I think the ring has been a huge improvement. They could just make some finer tweaks to it to make it perfect, but I really, really like having that versus have to put batteries in other options they had before. And the other ones were also hard to even press. So I think this is, again, definitely a big improvement over what they had before. Another really good improvement is having the adjustable bar. Now, when I first got the Speediance Gym Monster, I had multiple bars I was using, as well as then I finally got the rowing machine had even another bar. So now I only have the one bar I use, which is pretty cool. And again, I can change the anchor points on it depending on the exercise. So things like bicep curls, I like to bring the anchor point in a bit more. Things like squats, I put it all the way out so that I fit in the bar itself while using things like the bar pad in order to protect my shoulders. Next pro on my list is going to be the app. I've actually been very impressed with this app. Besides the fact it has no programs and maybe lacking a bit in terms of like overall exercises and workouts, the rest of it, like just going through the UI, getting things set up, getting into a workout have been super duper easy. Now I did have some practice before this again with the Gym Monster where I could kind of go through and already know how to use everything, but it was seamless for me to get set up. Like again, I got set up and on the Gym Pal within seconds. And again, having a little QR code that you can scan also made it just so much easier. So Speediance, really, really great job in getting set up and ready to use the device, super easy for my experience. So next up, one thing I thought might not be possible was doing pullovers with this device. So this is one of the exercises I recently added into my custom plan. So I wanted to see if it was possible, and you actually can. It's a little awkward. I'll actually show it on screen. So what I do is I have like a bar pad. You can also take like a pillow or something, and I put it under my neck, and I kind of lay my head between the raised parts of the white section of the platform, and then I do the pullovers. Now, I do have a little bit of concern. Once I get really good at this exercise and really strong with it, I do think I might lift it off the ground, but I'm not sure. So if it comes to that, I'll probably put the bench or something heavy on the other side. But do know, with the weight I'm currently doing, which is about, I think 60 pounds the last time I did it, with the bar, it didn't move on me. It just kind of came up to my shoulders, and I was able to kind of pull over and do the exercise, just like it says. So that was really cool to see. I'm kind of glad I can do it, because that was something I was afraid of I might not be able to do, and I'd have to put in an alternate exercise instead. But do know, from what I've tested, pullovers are possible up to a certain weight, and then you might need to add some weight on the platform itself so that it doesn't flip on you. So my last pro is an item that comes up in a lot of my videos, and that is, does it fit in my closet? And I am safe to say that yes, this easily fits in my closet and would actually fit the bench and stuff with it in there, as long as I didn't have any other equipment in my closet as well. So that's a huge pro, one I always look for, does it fit? And this is the smallest closet I've ever had in like the last 3 homes I've lived in. So do know, it's the smallest one, and this device does fit in there, unlike many of the other items I have now. Alright, pros are done. We are now going to move on to the cons of the Speediance Gym Pal. So the first one, and most obvious one, is that there's no vertical pulling exercises I can do, and I have this as one of my basic main movement patterns you should have in your workout programming. So this one does hurt. Now, I am probably going to keep something like pull-ups in mind, so I'll just do like a warm-up with pull-ups, and then maybe do something like reverse grip bent over rows or something of that nature to continue working the lats really hard. But do know, not having that overhead pull like I have with the Speediance Gym Monster, or just in my general normal workouts where I had the pull downs with the resistance bands or pull-ups with my doorway pull-up bar. Yeah, that's a hard pill to swallow on that one, but I'm doing what I can to see if I can work around it. You can still build great lats, don't get me wrong. It's just I really wish that there was some way to have vertical pulling, but unfortunately in this case I don't see how they can do it without adding some giant attachment. My second one is one that my dogs kind of started, and that is that the platform itself can get very dirty and very hairy. So especially the 2 dogs I have, they've gotten hair within the hour I unbox this thing. There's hair all over the platform. They just shed enough where it's summer right now, and there's hair all over it. So because it's like a feltish kind of material that's on there, it gets stuck really easily. It's actually pretty hard to get out, so that is pretty annoying. I like standing on everything, but because of that material, it does make it harder for me to clean out. So that is going to probably be a problem, especially with my 2 dogs. They just have to keep them out of this room in order to keep that thing clean and ready to use. Moving on, I covered this a little bit earlier, and that's the tricep rope. I still think it's way too slippery. Now, this was the same rope I got before with the Gym Monster, but the second one was just as slippery as the first. So again, figure out something that's better than this, and I would be happy to make an updated review saying that's been improved, but I just have a hard time holding this thing if my hands get sweaty at all. Moving on, one con that I don't really care about, but you might, and that is that there's really no cardio options with this because it's just a standing platform. Think of this device as my resistance band setup, but can produce way more resistance. It is way more expensive, but it can do way more resistance than that one can. So there is no real cardio options for this, as I mentioned. I don't even think they have any cardio exercises at all when you look in the app. But again, I don't really do much for cardio outside of like walking my dogs right now. But if that's you, you might have to find something else in order to do that cardio. And do know the example cardios they had before with the Gym Monster were things like the skiing and the rowing machine. And my last con is that the app is lacking in some things. So first off, we're still missing some of the major exercises. What is interesting is in the old Gym Monster app, they were missing calf raises, but I noticed that they actually added them into this one and they made them just time-based. So that they just have it in there, like just do it for whatever, 60 seconds, whatever you put, just do the calf raises. Now it still doesn't pick up on the exercise very well because it still tries to track the reps. I still have to do like a mini squat into a calf raise. But at least it's in there as an exercise that I can pick from. I didn't see shrugs. That was one that was still missing, but it looks like they were actually able to add calf raises in some way within the app itself. But do know, not having any kind of programs and kind of seeing that there are still missing exercises just gives me a little bit of pause on what is available to some people. But I think for what is there. All the fundamentals and stuff are in there for most people, and that's really what builds you the most muscle anyway. But if you want to get fancy, some things might not be in there, and you'll have to make custom versions of them yourself. Alright, so my final thoughts. I really like the Gym Pal. I think they did an excellent job. It is a good size. A fair price in my opinion for this. It's just missing that vertical pull. Like, that's the big item that stands out to me as something that is missing here. So I think as long as you have some way to do like pull-ups, just to keep, just to continue improving that movement pattern, you should be good. Or even doing pull-downs with bands, I don't care, just something separate. Again, I normally do pull-ups in one of my days as a warm-up. So I still do them in my workouts. So I think as long as you have that somewhere, you're still improving that form over time. You will have to do some kind of substitution though in order to work and target the lats better in your workouts. That could be something like bent over rows where your hands come closer to your hips, working more of the lats in your workout programming. And just like always, the 220 pounds resistance is still really good. The only exercise I can really max out is the deadlift. I'm getting close with some others like bench pressing and squats. I'm getting close, but I've yet to actually fully max it out for multiple reps. Usually I look at around 5 to 10. If I did 1 rep, I probably could max them for things like squats, but I'm looking at more like 5-ish reps. Can I max it at that? So I still have some wiggle room there, but do know for the average person, I think the 220 is more than enough because it does, again, feel harder to do than free weights. But I guess the final question is, would I prefer the Gym Monster or the Gym Pal? Now, again, for my pet peeve of the closet, definitely the Gym Pal. But if I really had to look at this, the Gym Monster is overall better. And that's why the price tag is so much higher. But you can do everything with that thing in a very small, compact form. So I think I'll have this in my rotation a bit. Maybe I'll just rotate through the items I kind of have. But like if I had a gun to my head and I had to pick one, it would definitely have to be the Gym Monster that I would pick. But the Gym Pal, I think, is an excellent other product that really helps you to work the lower body if you're working out from home, and you can again improve in all aspects with your home gym setup in a very compact, small, minimalist way. So with that, if you want to compare against the Gym Monster, make sure you check out the video on screen or in the description so you can see which one might be better for you. There is a big cost difference, but figure out which one would be better for you in the long run because that's what matters.